Good day, my viewers. This is Sayodele Samuel Jude, your smart tutorial founder. Today, we'll be looking at multiplication and division, the way and manners which this arithmetic symbol move in equation or in algebra or in expression. Don't forget, in our last class, we discussed about plus and minus movements during the collection of like terms. It is plus and minus that lead us to collecting like terms. But today we'll be looking at multiplication and division. And don't forget, this particular channel, try to click the subscribe button. It's free, for free, so that you can get our latest videos. So under multiplication and division, I will try to point out the basics of this particular arithmetic symbol, which is the glue effect. And most of the things that we'll be discussing on this channel, most of them you may not find them in your textbook. But over the years, if you study them very well, you will discover that this is exactly what is happening, but it was not revealed due to some personal reason of the authors of those textbooks. They've done a very good job, really. But I'm just trying to add to it. So multiplication and division, they have a kind of glue effect. You know, our super glue in Nigeria. So multiplication and division, they are like that. They try to hold items together, especially the items that are in between them. Look at what we have here. This is times, multiplication, this is multiplication. All these items, the way it is, they are attached together. You cannot easily separate them and move them. That is what I'm trying to call the glue effect for multiplication and division. The same thing applies to this x over 2. This x over 2, this is minus. Minus does not have the glue effect. So you cannot jump from here to, you cannot add the x to the minus 1. The same thing is applicable. The 2 cannot easily go here. Don't forget, even though with the super glue, you can still try to separate them, but you need a kind of effort. You need a kind of effort to separate them. That is what happens when you see multiplication and division. Then they lead you to what we call the LCM. Now let's look at this first one. This is 2 times 4 times 3. Always remember, irrespective of what you will do in mathematics, you must still follow the Bodmer's rule. Now, look at it. The addition is at the last. So that is, you need to treat the multiplication before the addition. Look at the multiplication. But the question students fail to ask, why do we have bod m before the addition? It's because these 2 and 4, they are glued together. You cannot easily separate any of them to come and process it with this plus 3. So times division, they have this glue effect that join items, that join variables together. It prevents this variable from moving to another, as in from going closer to another items. You cannot process those variables to another items, except you have to deal with the times and the division first. Don't forget the Bodmer's. That is, it will be what? 2 times 4 plus 3. Now you have to do the times before the plus 3. This plus belongs to this 3. I always tell you, know who owns a particular symbol. That is, this multiplication belongs to 4 and 2. Yes, that is why I said glue effect. Under addition and subtraction, each sign belongs to one item. But under multiplication and division, anything that either in the front of the addition, or anything that is attached directly or indirectly to the multiplication and the division, they are definitely glued to it. That is, the times is glued to this 4 and is also glued to this 2. That means we have to solve this before this. So that is 2 times 4, which is what? 8. 8. Then we now have plus 3. So 8 plus 3 now. That is, we have solved the multiplication. 8 plus 3 is what? 11. So that is that regarding the glue effect. That is, you, even though if the multiplication is at any position, you have to go to that multiplication and solve whatever that joins both the that holds the multiplications. Any items that have any link to the multiplication must be solved first before plus and minus. Are we together? Now let's look at what we have here. This is 2 times x times y. I'm sorry, let's solve 2. For the 2 times b, this is number, this is alphabet. Under plus and addition, you cannot add alphabet and number because they are unlike terms. They will remain the same. But under multiplication and division, you will solve it. It's solvable. That is, remember, glue effect. The times have a kind of what? Glue effect. If they are on a straight line, it will glue it like that. 2 times b will give you 2b. That is, the b and the 2 will be joined together. That is 2b. The 2 and the b, what? The times we join the 2 and the b together. A times x, ax. The multiplication has a kind of glue effect, don't forget. Y times y, they are also not numbers, but the times we join them together. You can call it yy. You are very, very right. But it does not sound good. It doesn't, as in, you can do better by calling it s square, y square. That is y that has 2 heads. That is, what I'm trying to say is, you can call it yy, but it is better written as what? The y that has 2 heads. That is y square. 3 times 3 is 9. Yes. And also it's the same thing as 3 raised to power 2, which is what? 9. Are we together? So if you look at this, they are similar. The reason why you cannot say 3, 3. No, because 3 is quantitative. You can count them. Alphabet, they are qualitative. You cannot count them. So that is why it is written this way. Are we together? All these things, you will not get them from your textbook, but you need these basics to excel in some difficult topics in mathematics. Now let's look at the last one here. This is number 3 again. I want us to look at it very well. 3 square is 3 times 3 is what? 3 square, which is what? You cannot say 3, 3, because 3, 3 means another thing in mathematics, which is 33. So that is why we are not writing 3, 3 like y. Y square, 3 square. 3 times 3, 3 square is what? Is 9. Now let's come here. We are still talking about the glue effect. The glue effect of multiplication and division. They have glue effect. When you say glue effect, that means you can process what is between those signs. Look at this. Times. That means all these 3 are joined together. This is a big division. That means sy is already solved already. They've been joined together. That is, sy is what? S times y. That means this one is joined together. Now this and this, they are also joined together, but this is a separate entity. That is, in this question number 5. Oh my god, sorry. In this question number 5, 2 times x times y, they are joined together already with the glue effect. Division also joined this to this. That means this one is what? Single entity. That is, you can process this one as single entity. This is plus. This plus simply tells you that this and this are separated. They are not joined together. You cannot easily process the two of them together. 1 divided by 2. This one and this are joined together. That is, there is a glue effect between them. That is why we can say what? Y cancel Y, X cancel X, Y cancel Y. Because they are single entity, we can process. That is why we are able to process them together. So here now we now have what? 2. This one is 1, 1. 2 times 1 times 1 over 1 times 1. So 2 over 1 plus 1 over 2. So this is an entity, this is another entity. They are not joined together with this X. So you need to find the LCM. That is where the issue of LCM comes in. So 2 over 1 plus, this 2 over 1 is the same thing as 2. 2 plus 1 over 2, which is what? 2.5. You can use your LCM and check if you are going to get 2.5. 2 plus half is 2.5. So that is it. So you can do that. That is an assignment for you. Solve this and check if you are going to get this. If you get same answer, try to comment. If you didn't get the same answer with this, also comment. I will always reply your replies to your comments. This other one also, this is 5 divided by 6 divided by 2 over 5. This is joined to this. This is joined to this. In mathematics, this division, it actually belongs to everything here. But this have a superior owner. This is a superior owner of this division. That is, this is a single entity. They are not two entities. 2 over 5. They are single. It's a single entity. This division will change to multiplication, while this one will turn upside down. That is 5 over 6. The division will change. Then the superior owner of this division. I always tell you, the owner of any arithmetic sign is the one in front of it. This one also partake in it, but this one owns it more than this, because division has glue effect. That is, this one will be what? 25 over 2. Then you can now solve them together as 5 times 25. 5 times 25 over 6 times 2. So when you solve it, now you can process them together. I think this one has reached a stage where I believe you should be able to get the final answer by yourself. So what I'm trying to point out in this video is just that multiplication and division has a kind of glue effect. You can leave like 4 lines and solve the remaining one. Is that taken? Now let's look at this. This is question number 5, Roman figure 1, question number 5, Roman figure 2. They have something in common. In our last question, if you look at all these questions we have solved, they are expression, not equation, because in the question there is no equals to sign. It is we that introduce the equals to sign along the process of solving it. Now this is a question. It has equals to sign. That means the equals to sign tells you that this is an equation, this is an equation. So you have to solve it. But what I want to point out again is multiplication and division. This is 2x. The 2 is joined to the s. That means there is a multiplication here. That is, 2s means 2 times x. So this is a separate entity. Under equation, you try to move all the numbers to one side and all the alphabets to the other side. That is, there is a number here. We can move this plus 1 easily because the plus 1 is not joined to this. So it's not going to affect these 2s. That is, it will remain only 2x equals to 7. Anything crossing the bridge, don't forget, it will change. Anything that is plus 1 will change to minus. That is minus 1. That what we have done here is we have collect like terms. That is those items that looks alike. So we now have what? 2x equals to 6. Now, under equation, we are removing the number to one side, alphabet to one side. We have successfully moved plus 1. Now, the next one is 2. This is 2 times x. 2 times x. Anything That is, the times belongs to the two of them. So for us to remove the times and 2, that is, the 2 has its own times. So that means to cross this bridge, it will become what? Divided by 2. It will remain only x. That is, this is 6. The times 2 will become what? Divided by 2. So that means s is equals to what? 6 divided by 2 is what? 3. So that means s is equals to 3. Any question? So that is just that. The same thing, let's see what happens there. What happens there is just that minus 1 equals to 7. This is an equation, don't forget. That is s over 2 minus 1 equals to 7. That is, we move the numbers to one side. We move the numbers to one side. That is the essence of equation, to separate numbers from alphabets. Which is what? X, the first thing we move is minus 1. This is left-hand side, this is right-hand side. The minus 1 will cross this bridge, it will change. So we have what? S over 2 equals to, 7 is here before. Minus 1 will come and become what? Plus 1. So that means x over 2 is equals to what? 8. Now this is divided by 2. Divided by 2, we are moving the numbers. Divided by 2, we move to this side and becomes what? You will have only x here. That is, because divided by 2, this division belongs to this 2, though it's affecting this x, but the 2 is the superior owner of the division. That is, divided by 2, we move to this side and becomes what? Multiplication times 2. That is, our final answer is what? X equals to what? 16. So that is that. I'm just trying to point out the glue effect of multiplications and division. The glue effect of multiplications and division. Also, if you look at what we have here, there's another thing I want to point out with what I have here. Is just that when you see something of this nature, look at the x. The x is facing this division. It's not on 2. It's facing this division. Look at y also. Y is facing this division. In most of the international questions, standard questions, at times they put the alphabet facing the division sign, and students get confused. Like I said, the essence of this video is to point out the basis that will help you in solving your questions in different topics in mathematics. So this x is on the division. That is the real position. So you must use your own hand as a student to place the x back. That is, it will not become what? 1s. 1s the same thing as x. That is, we now have what? X over 2 times x squared. X squared is still the same thing as xx. S squared is the same thing as x times x, or ss. So sy is the same thing as s times y. Now what we now have here, this multiplication is joining everything together. You can decide to draw the division. That is this division and this division. If it is plus, you cannot do that. If it is minus, you cannot do that. So multiplication have a glue effect. It will bring them together. That is the essence of this what? Of this multiplication. It will bring it brings everything together. The numerator will still remain as the numerator, denominator. So what we have here, s we cancel s. That is s here 1, s here 1. This is 1 times everything that is here. We now have what? S squared over 2y. So that is the final answer. The purpose of this question is just to point your attention to what happens here. That is the essence of this question. The same thing applies there. The same thing applies there. That is 2y. This y is here. But in standard question, they will place it here for you. Then you now use your whole hand to place it back. It is not s raised to power y. The y is facing this division. So that is 2y over 3x plus, this is 2 times 2 times 3 times 2 plus 1. That is, we now have what? 5 over 2. The y is here. The y is here. Now, this y is still the same thing as having it here. That is just it. That is 2y over 3x plus this one is what? 5y over 2. That is just it. Now, plus you cannot join them together. So you have to look for the LCM to solve this particular question. Actually, we are not here to solve this type of questions. They are too simple, which I believe you should be able to solve as a student. That is 3s and y. The LCM is what? 3xy. Under LCM of algebra, if you cannot find the LCM directly, just multiply the two denominator and get your LCM. Then use the LCM to multiply each fraction. You use the LCM to multiply each fractions. You write your answer here. You use the LCM to multiply this one at the back of your notes. Then you write the answer here. So you get the final answer for that. I'm not here to give you the result, the final answer. I'm here to point out the basics that can help you in your mathematics with conviction. So the same, let's look at what we have here. What we have here is s over 2 times s squared and this. Everything is having division and subtraction and multiplication, so you can easily join them together. So it's still the same thing as what? S squared, that is this multiplication join these divisions together. Then we now have what? 2 times sy. So you do your cutting, then you get your final answer. S squared is still the same thing as what? S or s times s. So 1s will cancel 1s. So we now have what? S squared, s times s, s squared, 2 times y, 2y. So that is your final answer. There's nothing you can do. Today, also in the last question, number 10, if you look at it, this question is just a further, is a kind of more difficult with what we have been doing. Here we have, if you remember, there's something we call completing the square method in our quadratic equation. It will help you here. S square minus 4, they are perfect square. When you have negative in the middle of perfect square, it's still the same thing as s is x minus 1. You cannot solve it. So this one is what? Unlike terms. It will remain like that. S square minus 4. This one is still the same. You have to break this one down. It's breakable. That is s minus 2 and x plus 2. That is, you have to note this as a student. If it is s square minus 9, this one you change it to 3. So know your perfect square very well. Perfect square. You can open this bracket at the back of your notes and see if you are going to get this. Now, division will change to multiplication. These are the superior owner, then they will turn upside down. That is, we now have what? X minus plus 1. They will turn upside down. X minus 1. And let me tell you, when you are dealing with this type of question, it's very, very, very important to put brackets to cover them so that you don't make a mistake. I can solve them without brackets, but as a student, it will help you and it will help your teacher that is marking your notes to put brackets to cover the two, because these are unlike times. You cannot solve them. So you have to use a bracket to cover them because you are dealing with division and multiplication. So from what we have here, you can now start your cutting because this is division has changed to what? Times. Times will bring them together. That is, times this can only cut this. So nothing to cut each other again. So our final answer is what? S plus 1 over x minus 2, x plus 2. So that is that in this particular question. Any question? If you have any question, you can always drop your comment at the comment section. If you have any question to ask, then we will definitely help you. So once again, we are rounding up for the glue effect. We hope you are able to get some vital points regarding multiplication and division, why you have to treat them first in a particular question. They have a kind of what? Glue effect, and you cannot collect their like terms easily. That is, you have to take note of this glue effect when you are dealing with multiplication and division. We will still remain I still remain your tutorial master on the Smart Tutorial on Facebook. Is free. You can always make comments, ask questions. We'll be ready to help you as a student, as teacher, as school. We can also make video depending on your request, or you can chat us, just message us on samueldino@yahoo.com. That is our email. Message us also on Facebook, who tells you more about what you need to know, or those basics that you need to know. And if you want to go deep in any of the topics, you can always message us. That will be a personal interaction, which is online. Our online service has terms and conditions, but I'm telling you, it will make a maximum input into your learning. So once again, thank you for watching.